This portion of Proview is brought to you by DC Lottery.
Welcome back to Proview. Doc Walker, along with my favorite hog, John Riggins. Riggo, that 70 chip, that play that has been posterized with you breaking and the score and all the great moments that you've been involved in, where does that rank?
Well, for me, Doc, I guess it's got to be number one, although I would have to back it up a little bit and say I had a moment before that about 3 weeks before that when we were playing Detroit in the first round of the playoffs that year, because I was going out to Redskin Park and realized once again, I was saying earlier about opportunity, and I knew finally my opportunity was before me, and I was getting, once again, it was like the Dallas game, I was getting goosebumps on the way to practice, and that's when I went and told Bugle to give me the ball, and he said, don't tell me, go tell the old man, so I told Gibbs, and that was my moment that defined me as an athlete, because we all have those chances when it's, it's there for yours if you ask for it. And I asked for it, so I feel good about myself in that. But so then you get to the 70 chip. Well, if I don't make that play, then I'm not sitting in a seat more than likely, because we're not talking about a Super Bowl that we won, perhaps, although we would have been in one. But the losers of the Super Bowl don't get asked at too many parties, as a rule. Yeah, exactly. We've done both.
Speaking of great running backs, when you think of backs, John, who sticks out in your mind when you see a guy and you go, that's a stud?
Well, I tell you what, I never got to see Jim Brown play. He was before me, but let's face it, he was quite a running back. But Earl Campbell was really quite a guy with a football tucked under one arm. I marvel at the hit that he took from Jack Tatum, who came into the league the same time I did. The safety from, well, actually he's playing for Oakland, but he went to school at Ohio State. He drilled Earl. I mean, Jack Tatum, he could bring a lick, and he drilled him down on the goal line, and like, Earl just kind of bowed his neck, and Jack dropped to the ground. He spun off and went into the touchdown. So, yeah, Earl was a piece of work, I thought, as a running back.
John, you may not have been the easiest guy in the world to coach, but in terms of coaches, who sticks out in your mind as maybe the best in any sport?
The guy that you almost got to go with, but I don't know if it's because there wasn't, I think a Red Auerbach, that, for somebody to produce that many championships, I guess you got to kind of look at how many war campaigns or how many war ribbons they got, and I think Red's right up there at the top. And, I was a kid when he coached. I have no idea, but I just got to pay respect to a guy. I think that for whatever he did, he certainly, there were other teams out there and other coaches, but they could never really overtake him, so he did pretty well, I'd say. Of course, I like Casey Stengel, too, for some reason.
Well, I was waiting on baseball to come in.
Yeah, of course, I grew up a Yankee fan out in northeast Kansas, Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris and all that stuff. And Casey was just, for some reason for me, he was just as big as the rest of the guys on the team, and I always admired him as well.
Okay, finally, I got to ask you about your favorite actor, because that is part of what you do now. As an inspiring actor, of course, you had that stint on The Guiding Light. Who's the guy that excites John Riggins on the big screen? It's funny. I don't have one person in particular, and I actually, in American films like the big blockbusters with the action films and all that stuff, for whatever reason, they don't excite me too much. In the last few years, of course, it's my wife, probably my new wife or my present wife, is I watch the movies with the subtitles, the European stuff. And well, no, because a lot of times, that I can't read some of the stuff they put up there, but no, I kind of get into that. I don't know why. Well, Riggo, it's always a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're quite welcome.
Have a good one.
Thanks for having me.